and thank you for joining us for another episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. I am Michelle Kane. My company is Voice Matters, and I am here with the ever lovely Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. Hi, Karen. How are you today?
Hi, Michelle. I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to the 4th of July weekend. How are you?
Oh, I am. Yes. By the time our listeners are hearing this, they should be enjoying a day off because it will hit on that Monday, the holiday Monday. And so today we thought it would be a great idea to talk about freedom, freedom in
Yeah.
your work, freedom as a solo, all that good stuff. So,
Yeah.
so we were just actually talking before this broadcast started going live to our live stream of, so when is the actual holiday since the 4th falls on a Sunday? And, oh, right, it's Monday. All right. And I know I am guilty, probably most guilty than of all of, you just think, well, maybe I'll just do this one thing on Monday with the holiday. And we want to really focus on the importance of taking time off, the freedom that being a solo affords you in that way. And also, how to achieve that freedom because it may
Yeah.
sound simple, but sometimes
I
it's
mean,
not.
yeah, I completely agree. We talk about, so many of us, and there are so many surveys out there that validate this, including our own survey, that one of the biggest reasons that people make the leap to run their own business is for freedom and
Mhm.
flexibility. You want the freedom to work with the clients that you want to work with. You want to be able to do the kind of work that you enjoy. And you want the freedom to have more control over your schedule. And it's really interesting that while those are the reasons that we make the leap, far too often we don't take advantage of those benefits. And so today,
Mhm.
not only do we want to talk about freeing yourself to take time off, but really how do you gain more freedom in your business? And I know it can seem like counterintuitive, like of course people know how to do that. But what happens is you start this business and you go in, and you are all in and you are working so hard initially to build your business. And then you bring on clients and now you're working so hard to service those clients. And you look up and a decade has gone by and you're like, should I take a vacation? And so you haven't built it into your structure. So today we hope that we are going to be able to share some tips with you, proven tips that have worked, um, so that you can gain more freedom in your business.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about this since we selected this topic and how, speaking of the freedom of working this way, could sound kind of loosey goosey, but what you really need are, some systems built in, some boundary setting things to make it work for you. It's not just gonna just run away and get my nails done today. It's like, especially if clients are expecting something. We're not talking about that kind of freedom, but like you say, and those of you who are listening to the podcast and not watching the live stream, I was smiling knowingly when you said you're a decade in and you haven't taken a proper vacation. I'm thinking, because you are working so hard and you have to make that mental shift. And I know I have been very cognizant of that, especially lately, because guess what? You know what? Even if your frontal lobe doesn't do the work for you, your just your psyche and your body are going to say, we need a little bit of a break. Why haven't you done that? Pull your head up, look around. You've got established clients. You've got a decently full plate. Of course, business development's always part of that. Exhale for 5 seconds, maybe even 10.
And I mean, you said the key word that in order to gain more freedom in your business, it actually does require having a structure and
Mhm.
systems in place to allow you to do that. And so here's my challenge to all of you. And I say this as someone who suffered from this syndrome. My mission in life is to be as open as I possibly can about the struggles and mistakes that I made and what I've learned from that. And I'm so thankful for the
Yeah.
people that really helped me to really come to a new understanding. And I'm still learning and growing in my business as well. Even after 16 years, there are still things that I'm learning. But if I can pass on tips to help you, I wholeheartedly want to do that, because my mission is to make sure that we all have the business that we want. And I say want because it shouldn't be compared to how anybody else does anything. It's, what do you want from your business and your life, and how do those things work together? Then you need to have a plan to be able to achieve that. And so maybe you're a solo and you're like, I really want to truly be a solo. I want to work this many hours and that's it. And I want to turn away clients when I'm all filled up, and, I'm happy just working on my own. That's fine. You don't have to have this empire in order to gain freedom in your business. You just need to create a structure, your structure for your business, so that you have this framework in which you operate. So as you're setting up this structure, you also need to build in things like, what do I do for emergencies? So if I need to take time off because I get injured, or I need to tend to a family member, or I have a child that's sick, it shouldn't be, a 5-alarm fire. Set up a structure that allows you to step away if you need to, while still being able to serve your clients. So that could look a lot of different ways. It could mean that you do have relationships with other solos, that, maybe it's a group of solos that you talk to on a regular basis. Maybe you guys hold one another accountable. Maybe you brainstorm and share ideas, but have relationships in place that you can tap someone to say, hey, here's what's going on. Can you be the emergency during this time when I need to step away, if it's a few days or a week? If you need to take extended time, then you need to have a structure in place to be able to subcontract the work and bring somebody else onto your team for that period of time. To do that, what does that also mean? That means that you need to plan your savings around the ability to do that. So you can start saving for those things right now. Maybe you haven't done that before, and that's okay. This is not a show where we want people to feel judged or feel like they've done things wrong. We just want to help you to have the freedom in your business that we all deserve. And one of the easiest and one of the best benefits that we should all be taking advantage of is the ability to take time off from the business. You should be able to take a vacation. You should be able, even if you don't go anywhere and you just want a week off to just do nothing. If you want to stare at your ceiling, that's fine.
It's my favorite place. No, I'm just kidding.
Keep working and keep working, because you feel this, it's like being trapped. And honestly, you've now made yourself, worse than, an outsourced worker overseas working for $1 a day, because if that's all that you do and you haven't even created a way to give yourself time off, that's horrible.
And I joke, but you do need time to just stare at a wall sometimes, because that's how, and again, not to align it so much with work, but sometimes that's when the ideas come, or that's just when you cleanse your brain just by that different type of activity or non-activity. We need it. We are not robots. We are not machines. And, as Karen has shared, I aim to be open here as well, because that's how we help each other. And, I have to tell myself time and time again, I can work as hard as not a robot, but you know what I mean? I can go hard, but then you have to realize, it's interesting too. It's like, as I get older, I hold myself to a higher bar, which, makes sense in some ways, because clearly you should be at a higher echelon than when you started. But I thought, wait, I wasn't this hard on myself 30 years ago. What's wrong with me?
I agree.
Why am I doing this? So, a reset is so important. And I love what you're doing, Karen, with, your pandemic reset. It's inspiring. I think it's a terrific idea to just take that time, let your clients know, we're not on vacation, but we're just not going to be working this week. We've all been going hard in so many different ways, and just at, really at a heightened level. We've all been at fight or flight for so long. We need, as someone who had to do that before and didn't realize the toll it would take until, you find out in other ways through your body. It's so important to do. You really need to take that time.
It is. And I will let you guys in on a few of my little secrets that have really worked for me, and I'll fill you in on the pandemic reset. But before I do that, I also want to mention that part of, creating that structure is understand what's going on in your business in case you need to turn it over. So do you have all of your critical passwords in a single location? I personally use LastPass as a password manager, but there certainly are other options. That way, and I have, my passwords categorized. So if I needed to give access to someone for my business stuff, I have that in a folder, and I could share that folder securely within LastPass with them so that they now have the information. So that's one small thing to think about. I also have documentation on things that happen all the time. So we all have like things that are repeatable in our business. We meet with this client on this day, maybe it's it's a bi-monthly meeting, or maybe it's a monthly meeting. We do a report. Are all those templates and all of the things that you use in your business documented in some way so that if you did need to hand over the reins, you could easily do that? And by the way, doesn't have to be super sophisticated. You could even use like a little notebook, those little notebooks that you can get at Target, to just write stuff down, because that stuff can be scanned into a computer and sent too if you have nice handwriting. So don't stress out about like, oh, now I need to go invest in this technology where I can you really don't.
No.
Make it as easy as possible for yourself, because this should not be another task. But here's the beauty in documenting the things that happen in your business routinely. Number one, you start to see how you're spending your time because you're writing these things down. You start to see the repeatable things, and that's a great way to start to understand where you could use help in your business. So one of the things that we recommend, we have a Solo PR Pro resource around this. One of the things that we recommend is going through this process and before you hire somebody. Because once you have the documents, you can say, oh, this thing, happens like all the time, and it takes up, 10 hours a week or 5 hours a week. Now I know that this is something I can delegate to a VA or a junior person. And so this process of like creating systems, even when it's just you, can help you in so many different ways.
Yeah, I can't agree more. And it, even as a self-evaluation tool, only because, I did this maybe about 5 years ago and realized, oh, I could chunk my time a lot better. And have I gotten away from that? Probably, yeah. Because you have I don't know if you're like me, here's how I rule my world. I've got my little ClickUp with my tasks, and that's kind of my home base with everything and anything that could ever happen or need to be done with my clients. And then you just somehow find yourself working off of a running Google Doc to-do list. And you think, as David Byrne would say, how did I get here? Because, some days fly fast and furious. And then you just, it's really a lot of it is habit, getting into a better habit. And, just sitting down with yourself. And it doesn't take a lot of time. Here's the thing too. When I find that I'm, flying faster than my brain can carry me, maybe, or it just feels that way, you think, oh, I certainly don't have time to check that box. And then you finally do sit down and get yourself organized. You realize that really didn't take that long. And here you were stressing about it and, thinking, no, I have to get the work done. I have to get the work done. And so, it's simple, not always easy,
Sure.
So, but you know what, it takes an incredible amount of discipline to work for yourself and keep yourself motivated throughout the day. So please, anyone listening, don't think, "Oh, you're right. I'm terrible. I stink." No, you're awesome. My gosh, you're a business for yourself. Are you kidding me? That's amazing. So, we're just trying to, buoy each other up
Yeah.
to
And
make life a little easier.
thank you, Michelle, for, saying that, because I hope people
Yeah.
really feel that. And they need to be encouraged. And we, of course, don't want you to feel bad. But
No.
again, we want to make sure that we help you to be exactly where you want to be in your business. So here's a couple of things that have worked for me. Michelle, you mentioned the word discipline, and you have to be disciplined on behalf of yourself too.
Yeah.
So at the end of 2020, coming out of that horrific year, I sat down with my 2021 calendar and I blocked off for the entire year self-care days and vacation days. I didn't have any plans to travel. I didn't know what I was doing, but I just knew that they needed to be on my calendar because for me, I find that when you make friends with your calendar and it's there, you tend to plan around it because it's already blocked out time. So I did that. I blocked out self-care days every single month. I blocked out lots of time off, and I really have stuck to that because it's on my calendar. It was on my calendar, so I wasn't putting anything in those blocks of time.
Right.
The other thing that I do on my calendar is I go through and I block off time to focus. Every single
so important
week for a couple of days. That focus time, I use it a few different ways. It's either focus time because now I can hone in on doing work, whether it's pitching or writing a strategic plan or whatever it is. Or if there's none, everything is like humming along and it's not been a lot of meetings and I've been able to get the work done, that focus time then becomes time that I could actually think, strategize, innovate, or go work on something that's a passion that I wanted to do and I haven't been able to do it. My point is, your calendar is your best friend because when it's blocked off and it's in your calendar, you are mentally giving yourself the permission to plan around that. You'll protect it. I stick everything in there, workouts, my Spanish lessons, and I'm structured and disciplined. And then it becomes a habit because you have really forced it to be a habit. So that's one thing. The second thing is that don't fear, I don't know where this comes from. Like we feel like we're not allowed to take time off because we're a business owner. So you don't want to tell your clients, like I can't tell my clients. Quite the opposite. So last year, we stole this idea from a client and we told them that we were stealing it. Company-wide on Labor Day week, they take the entire week off. It's not PTO, it's not anything, it's just off. The whole company shuts down for Labor Day. At the time, I said, well, I don't really want to shut down that whole week, but here's the thing that can help me and my team is that we're going to call it meeting-free week. So last year was our first year doing it. We're doing it again this year. And when I tell clients that in advance, like, hey, Labor Day week is meeting-free week for us. We're here, we're at work, but we clear our calendar of meetings to allow us to catch up and to reset. Clients have loved it so much that they want to adopt it in their own companies. So, here's something that we stole from another client, made it our own, and now clients want to steal it from us. This year, in addition to meeting-free week, we're doing a pandemic reset. We're taking a wellness week where we're just going to shut down for an entire week, not because it's a holiday, not because we're shutting down. And we're taking time off to breathe and to think and to re-engage or do whatever the heck we all want to do. The world is not going to be on fire. It really is going to be okay. Your clients will be fine. And here's the thing that we all need to get in touch with. If something really, 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 really bad happened, your clients know how to find you and you could just work, but don't make work the default option. You should take care of yourself too, because your clients are going to know when you're stressed. I mean, I had this happen recently where one of my clients set up a meeting with me privately, not to chew me out because they were worried because I sounded snarky in an email. And I was snarky because and I'm not a snarky person.
Sometimes it
I'm
leaks out though.
straightforward,
Sometimes it just happens.
I was so snarky that it was almost comical. Like I was not nice, and they were concerned for my mental health. And I'm like, we just want to make sure you're okay. And I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, I'm really tired.
yeah, yeah, and it happens, and it's interesting as you were saying this, how this idea of wellness weeks and resets are catching on. It's like this any human situation where everybody's feeling the same way, but we need one or two people or organizations to step out and initiate it, and then we all go, "Oh, thank goodness, I was thinking that too. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm so glad you started it." I think we're all there. I mean, we were both speaking before we popped on air about, we're noticing, hey, restaurants are closing for the weekend or for a few days because
Or a
everyone
week.
has or a week. Everyone's been just working so hard. And even if, there were some days during the pandemic where you weren't working, you were worried about work, or you were hustling to make sure the bills were paid or getting funding and all of that extra business. And, or right now you're trying to get your PPP forgiveness together. It's just so, like Karen said, they will find you, and I am guilty of that as well. I think, well, what if someone needs something designed and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, they have my phone number. They find me other way times. They will find me this time. It's okay.
Yeah. Unless you're planning on going off the grid and going on a safari or on a road trip where you're going to have spotty Wi-Fi. But again, if you're doing that, you can plan for that and you can
Right.
have somebody else in place for emergencies. None of this, you guys, I mean, we're not, our work is important, but we are not brain surgeons. We are not doctors on call.
Yeah.
We're different kinds of, we diagnose and fix other things in a different way. And it's not to devalue our jobs. It's
Right.
to do the opposite. It's to value who we are. And for the solo PR pro, your greatest asset is your mind.
Mm-hmm.
It honestly is what you know and what's in here. That is everybody's superpower. But the way that you protect that, you can't think straight if you're just always on and the world is always on fire. It's just not a good way to live and to be. And so we really should lean into the very reason that we all became solos, that freedom and flexibility thing. Yeah, it rocks when you take advantage of it. And some people are great about it. Some people are not. What is she called? A managing editor, Jessica Lawler, now Burns. I love her so much. And I love that from the day that I met her, she has always been living her best life. The girl works hard, but she's organized and she's structured. And when she's going to be off for a week, and she takes time off, takes time off. If she's going to be off for a week, I see the content calendar for the next 2 months. She plans it out, and she has a system in place where her team is doing the work and she's off doing her thing. That's how she was able to pull off getting married in the middle of a pandemic and keep everything going, keep all the balls in the air. And I just, encourage you guys, life is really too short not to enjoy your business. Like really enjoy your business. And I enjoy my work. I enjoy my clients. I honestly do. I'm just so happy. I'm happy every day that I get to do this work. And I'm sure you guys are too. But even when you enjoy it, you still need a break from it. You need to give yourself a mental break because it's exhausting if you are doing it like day after day after day, 365 days a year. And for many of you, you work on weekends, you work on holidays, you see the holiday as a quiet day to get stuff done. Why not build quiet into your work week?
I think it's, it's the whole not reaction, but it's a reformation of hustle culture. Where you're not doing it right if you're not grinding 24/7. Well, that's just silly. The whole old adage of, was it the guy chopping down trees? He got more done when he took the time to sharpen his axe. He didn't just keep going with a dull blade. So we need to make sure that we don't become dull blades. And Hey, I am citizen number one that's guilty of that from time to time.
Yeah.
Just because you get into this mindset, and it's so part of our culture too. If you've seen the meme that's been going around about vacation in the summer, email responders in the United in Europe, and they're
Yeah.
saying like, yeah, it's summer, so I'm going to be off
Yeah.
for a few weeks and blah blah blah, and then America, it's where they're like, so I'm donating a kidney, but you can still reach me on text before they put me under. It's like, and it's so true. How many of us do this? I'm
Sadly
sitting
true.
in the dentist chair checking my email. Why? Probably
Sadly true.
trying not to think about what's about to
We
happen, but
wore that as a badge of honor. We really
yeah,
have. We weren't, it's like we're
why?
being wheeled into surgery in the United
Yeah,
States, and you're still like mobile phone in hand,
yeah,
doing things, coordinating interviews. But you know what? There's nothing honorable about that. And
no,
I will tell you, I've done that. I've been there, done that. I have worked in the weirdest places, in the weirdest situations where
yeah,
my phone should have been nowhere near me, but I've
yeah.
stopped that. I
Me too.
do not do that
Yeah,
anymore. I
yeah,
just don't.
yeah, and
It's
yeah, and you know what? Your
you know
clients will
what? My business
understand.
is better as a
Yeah,
result of it. As a
yeah,
result of making that mental shift, it's
hmm
definitely better. Now, I'm not somebody that, takes off all the time either, but I have a lot of free time during my week just because, again, I use my calendar to block out time. So sometimes I'm out walking the dog, but it allows me to be out of my space and spending
hmm
time with my fur baby. But I'm also thinking, because now I'm
hmm
away from the computer, I'm in
right,
nature, and that's when the ideas flow. But
yeah,
I've protected that time for myself, and I use it in ways that refresh me, because it's always refreshing to get outside, to be, out walking and doing something, but I'm also able to think
right,
without, things pinging and going off and Slack messages.
yeah,
And yes, I still have my phone, so I still have access to that. Sometimes I'll stop on a walk. If I need to respond to something, then I'll respond to it because I have my phone.
right,
So use these tools that we have available to us to gain more freedom in your business and really start to enjoy the benefits of being a business ouner.
yeah,
Enjoy them. It doesn't mean that you're
yeah,
supposed to be, this shouldn't be like a ball and chain
no,
around your body. It
no,
shouldn't feel like
no,
this weight, like, this
no.
business means I can't do anything else.
And you know what? Let's leave you with this, because this is something that came up in corporate America, right? Remember when we worked places and you either didn't work on a Friday in the summer or you shut down at noon on a Friday in the summer? Try it. Let's all try it. It might mean you might push a little harder during the week or not, whatever. You'll still meet your deadlines, but try it. Now, I'm talking to myself as much as I'm talking to everybody else. So
Talking to herself.
she knows. She knows I talk to myself a lot. It's a crazy staff meeting. But we just hope you're encouraged today. We hope these wonderful tips. I mean, Karen, those tips are rocking. I always sit here thinking, oh yeah, I gotta start this. So let's make a promise to each other and be kinder to ourselves and take the time that we need to be the best person we can be, not the best business owner or worker. Because when you really, I'm going to sound hokey, if you feel like you're your best self all around, that's when you're going to perform the best, and it should be a thing of ease. So we wish you a wonderful whatever's left of this 4th of July holiday, and I look forward to next time on That Solo Life.